Hello, everyone. Hello, frontrunners in sport management. This is Isaiah Kioiloglu, an IOC young leader representing Greece and Cyprus, and the founder of Famobility, which is the first social project aiming to create sport and employability opportunities through global, non-formal education and advocacy in Athens, Greece. I am very, very happy to be your moderator during this very important panel. Today, we are going to delve in what makes our societies resilient and inclusive, what gives voice to our citizens, and where governments take their pick. I am joined by three very, very diverse, one would say, but interesting figures, very active within the social responsibility aspect of sport. And I would like to call, first of all, Mr. Jonathan Miseroy to introduce himself in our panel. Welcome.
Thank you. Hi, good afternoon. Jonathan Miseroy here from Generation Amazing Foundation. I'm the lead on strategy and partnerships at the foundation. Just for everyone, very briefly, Generation Amazing is the human and social legacy initiative of the FIFA World Cup Qatar 2022. The idea being that we wanted to provide multiple layers of legacy for the FIFA World Cup in Qatar, one of them being human and social. As a legacy initiative, we are in more than 75 countries around the world. We've built more than 41 football pitches and community clubs around the world. We have trained more than 2,200 coaches through a train-the-trainer model in the Middle East, and have more than 200 youth advocates, which doesn't sound like much, but the Youth Advocates program as a pillar of Generation Amazing only started a few years ago. So we're doing quite well in that manner. Briefly on GA, the idea is that we use football and now sports to teach life skills like leadership, like teamwork, cultural understanding, as well as going into the kind of more technical aspects that a coach might require, such as how to conduct a needs assessment, how to conduct a gender analysis, meaning that when they go through our training program, they can set up their own foundations, they can set up their own training programs and kind of kick off into impacting their community in themselves. At GA, we really believe in the concept of bottom-up development. So we work really closely with non-governmental organizations, civil society groups, CBOs, so community-based organizations, as well as even governments and UN agencies, in a way that, at Generation Amazing, yes, we do have expertise in a wide range of different things, but we don't always understand the community that we're working in as well as someone in that community will. So I think a main focus for us with participatory models and with bottom-up development is that we work hand in hand with those communities to build in what we call community buy-in and what lots of organizations are looking to aim for. So when we talk about sustainability, I know we talk about environmental sustainability quite a lot, but things like bottom-up development, things like participatory models, things like working with communities to build community buy-in are what also add that additional layer of sustainability. So yeah, that's GA. That's me in a really quick kind of bite, and I'm looking forward to the discussion later on what sustainability looks beyond the environment. So thank you.
Very, very glad to have you with us, Jonathan. Thank you. And let's go over to me. Can you hear us?
Sure. Thank you, Zaire. F82. Yes, it was. Hello, everyone. Appreciate this invitation. It's such an honor to be part of the sports management conference organized by the birthplace country of the Olympic Games, and to join this panel on the topic of the mission of my life, giving back to society through the power of sport. I played basketball for more than 20 years since elementary school. So not top level, but grassroots level. So I got so excited to hear that basketball is most popular sport in Greece, as it's not yet in my country, Japan. I'm a founder of Sport for Smile, the first ever platform in Japan harnessing the power of sport for social change. We've been around for 13 years now and have been fortunate to be supported by globally recognized social entrepreneurs, including Schwab and Rockefeller's, as well as collaborating with UN and World Bank. In the first decade, we focused on organizing seminars and events to raise awareness, delivering youth empowerment awards around FIFA 2018 World Cup and Tokyo 2020 official side event. But recently, we focus on the two projects with sports mentoring program to empower DB victim children and with Sport for Smile Planet League to drive Japanese sports organizations to take actions for climate change. In fact, these are all my volunteer work, and professionally, I work as a social responsibility consultant for pro teams and leagues in Japan, making the most of my experience with NBA's Detroit Pistons. And I designed B-League Hope, by newly integrated pro basketball league in Japan, which is Japan's first ever league-wide social responsibility initiative. And I worked with 4 pro basketball clubs so far to establish and implement their social responsibility initiatives. It's true, my engagement with Sport for Smile Planet League has been significantly increased. As Jonathan said, planet is so important these days. But I attended Sport Positive Summit and served as a judge panel for BBC Green Sport Awards. But I surely recognize the importance of social projects as well, with social issues, so many social issues around human rights, poverty, DEI, etc. So I'm very much looking forward to today's discussion as well. Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you so much, Mi. I think it's we should note here that when we're talking about social responsibility, we Europeans tend to focus more on our territory. So it's really important that we have Jonathan with us and me bringing us all of these aspects from Japan and from Qatar. And now let's head over to our European and I guess local panelist, Zach.
Thank you, Isaiah. I'm really glad that I heard me recognizing that basketball is the most popular sport in Greece. I'm really happy to hear that. I'm delighted to be here today representing the Hellenic Basketball Federation, an organization deeply dedicating to fostering social and environmental sustainability. My role as the head of the CSR department of the Federation is to lead the design and the implementation of the Basketball Federation's social and environmental strategy, merging basketball with communities and sustainability. For our organization, every event, regardless of its scale, embodies an opportunity to make a meaningful contribution to society. We aim to raise awareness about pressing societal issues, educate our fans and our teams and the whole sporting community, and champion the underrepresented by bringing attention to those in need. Our unwavering dedication to leveraging the sports as a catalyst for a better world is vividly demonstrated in the video presentation showcasing the impactful social initiatives that we orchestrated during the Hellenic Basketball Cup last February. So I would like to ask you to just show the video.
Wow. Just seeing all of these figures, these prominent figures of basketball being interested in our topic is really, really moving. Thank you, Zacharias. Shall we start, you guys? What do you think? All right. So the first question is for all of you. And we will start with Jonathan. And the question is, social responsibility is an often overlooked aspect of sustainability. Discussions often focus on environmental, economic, and climate-related topics. All three dimensions of ESG are important elements of sustainable development and should be addressed on an international scale. Have you come across this phenomenon in your daily work? And if yes, what tangible actions did you undertake?
Yeah, great question. I think with the main focus being youth empowerment at Generation Amazing, it's almost it's obvious to us that as part of a greater goal on how to educate and turn sustainability into something that everyone understands, you have to be able to access communities around the world that don't have those access. So access in a European or even sort of global north standpoint makes sense because youth are able to see within schools. It's part of the curriculum, it's part of daily life. But in lots of communities around the world, it may not be, and they may not have access to the same level of education. So I think with what we do at Generation Amazing is we look to either work with, as I said, a CBO, an NGO, a government. We might work with the Ministry of Education, for example. We might work just with a football club in a remote part of a country like India or Pakistan. And ideally what we do is we have a curriculum of 8 different modules where we look at things like sustainability, where we look at things like, as I said, cultural understanding, for example, and we look to kind of, promote those concepts without necessarily having to do it in a classroom setting, which isn't always the easiest place for people to learn. I think what GA did quite early on was align with the UN SDGs as well. So things like environmental sustainability are very important to us. But as I said, there's a whole gamut of different SDGs, things like education, things like gender empowerment, things like partnerships for the goals, where you work with organizations that maybe don't necessarily have the funding or the expertise in one area, but have more expertise than you in another area. So I think more broadly, I think we look at maybe a holistic view on what sustainability should be within this sort of human development spectrum. So yeah, I think just to round that off.
Very, very well said. Let's head over to me.
Sure. Well, actually, as Isaiah mentioned, situation in Japan is a bit different and unique, especially for these 1 to 2 years. There has been an SDGs boom in Japanese society at large. So Japanese sports organizations and companies have been competing how to get involved with the SDGs and which number should they put on their websites, which is not so meaningful sometimes. So it's great that Japanese sports organizations and companies started to look at social issues and ESG, but I found 2 problems in terms of implementation of social responsibility projects. I'm afraid I'm not simply answering to the question by Isaiah, but the first thing is that many of their activities are implemented without collaborating with nonprofits, just partnering with corporations to get sponsors, obviously, partly because Japanese sports organizations do not have proper CSR capacity yet in-house. This is actually happening regardless of the scope of the activities, whether they are tackling environmental or social issues. And the second problem is that many of Japanese sports organizations have not understood the criticality of climate change. Even though they are good at both the environmental and social activities, many haven't even started the emission measurement yet. So I respect the Greece Basketball Federation to have CSR division already and also joined the Sport for Climate Action Framework as the first Greek signatory. So in summary, social projects are not overlooked in Japan, I guess, or done by many clubs actually, but need more collaboration with nonprofits at large. I understand the points of this question with my experience with the NBA and global communities. And I guess when our sports industry grows up and operates in a larger scale, we may face the same kind of issue. So I will be careful as social responsibility consultant because my job is optimizing the portfolio of the social responsibility initiative according to the market needs and the social issues of each local community.
Zach, what about you?
Isai, as you already know, because we are engaged in the sporting industry in Greece, unfortunately, the case in Greece tends to be that we have a misunderstanding about what sustainability and social responsibility is. According to our, let's say, experience so far, sports organizations just tend to utilize these concepts for marketing reasons, just to show off themselves, just to show that they are engaged with the community and the society. But when it comes to the actual elements of, do we really help societies? Do we really help the environment? There seems to be a huge gap. Fortunately, we have the privilege as a federation to have our president, Mr. Vangelos Rolios, a person who is dedicated and has an expertise and knowledge around these concepts of sustainability and CSR. So we have the opportunity to move in a very concrete way towards these concepts, like the one that me said that we engage with the Sport for Climate Action Framework. We have developed a very, very strong networking with UNICEF in a global scale, and we have a very good collaboration with UNICEF in Greece. But at the same time, we utilize the platforms that FIBA has developed, like the FIBA Foundation and the Basketball for Good platform, which is very critical in order to proceed in a very successful way towards these issues, because as Jonathan and me indicated previously, having this networking and having the right partners to guide you through the journey, I think is the most critical element for sports organizations at the time being. Just to highlight that, because we all know that the sporting structure is different from other sectors. When it comes to the federations, for example, for the Greek Federation at the time being has almost 1,000 teams all over Greece, we have the responsibility not only to do actions and to organize, let's say, CSR activities, but to educate fans and to educate our academies. That is our main goal, to spread the knowledge around critical issues like mental health, like climate action, gender equality, and all this SDG, let's say, portfolio. So for us, it's a very important agenda within our structure, and having the support of critical partners like Ioannis Konstantopoulos, that he's, I'm sure that he hears now, is critical for us to proceed in the future in a very concrete and successful way.
So all in all, with a conclusion of what you all just mentioned, I would just highlight some keywords. You mentioned action that is individual, action that then is going over to partnerships, education, and making social responsibility approachable to the people, because it's okay to not know, but it's not okay to not push for more knowledge in that sector. All right, this gets interesting. Let's go to our second question. In regards to the world of profit organizations, the first of the United Nations Global Compact's principles focus on the social dimension of corporate responsibility, of which human rights is the cornerstone. Social sustainability encompasses issues that are affecting the groups directly affected by human rights violations, such as women, ethnic minorities, children, people with disabilities, and education and health come first as points of action. How did you, and I'm talking to Jonathan and Zach, experience this shift toward more social development actions within your context? And does this shift, in your opinion, pays their due diligence to human rights principles of your respective target groups?
Sure, I can kick off. You know, I think there has been a boom over the past sort of 10 to 15 years of companies and organizations that now say, oh, we would love to, you know, funnel some of our tax money into some sort of CSR. I think, you know, it's for us as a foundation, we're not really for profit. We've never been for profit. We've always been essentially a part of the state apparatus as a way of kind of accelerating human development in the region and then also globally. But I suppose I find now that more and more organizations that we're starting to look at working with are more keyed into global development and education / gender issues. There's definitely been a kind of a switch towards sort of working with community-based organizations who understand. But I would say, you know, one of the kind of most important things that I always stress is that if you want to do productive work somewhere, you need to work with people that understand that context. So you might be working in the same country as yourself. You might be working, you know, even locally, but if you can find a local organization that understands the context of maybe a town on the other side of your country that you might not understand fully, I think you'll get more productive sort of programming, but you'll also be able to kind of tailor that programming in a way that brings people in, brings community buy-in, and ensures that program lasts for a lot longer of a time. So yeah, I'd love to hear Zacharias' thoughts from your federation's standpoint as well.
Thank you, Jonathan, and thank you, Sayed, because this is a very critical aspect in terms of the modern, let's say, society in sports. What I have to illustrate from our perspective is that in general, we try to promote human rights, but more specifically, when it comes to actual actions, what we have done so far is that we are the first sporting federation in Greece that we have developed a safeguarding policy, which is very critical when we speak about human rights, because it's not only to do, you know, some CSR actions, but to create these mechanisms in order to protect athletes and everybody engaged in the sports industry from harassment and abuse. So we're very proud that we are the first one to have created that, because this enables us to do, you know, the due diligence process, as Isaiah told previously, to identify risks and having some specific mechanism to protect athletes with, you know, with bowling policies and redress mechanism and things like that. So having as a cornerstone of our human rights policy a specific mechanism within which we can promote, educate, and protect players, I think is the best example to showcase what should be done in terms of having the human rights at the forefront.
Very, very well said. I'm getting some directions from the control panel that we are a little bit late on time, so I might have to skip some questions. But for me, I would like you to complete the following phrase. Social sustainability is important in the non-profit world because, and how is this different from the profit world, from what we just heard from Jonathan and Zach?
Okay, thank you for good question. Yes, social sustainability is important in the nonprofit world because, needless to say, there are so many people in the world who need help, right? And yes, social sustainability is important for both profit and nonprofit world, definitely. What nonprofits can do is delivering projects without cost and benefit logic like for-profits, simply focusing on essential aspects of the issues, though fundraising is tough. Let me briefly introduce sports mentoring program that we have done since 2014. Sports mentoring is a one-on-one mentoring program using sports, matching a child 3 to 6 graders from DV victim families as mentee to university students as mentor to do sports together in a small group monthly for half a year. We accept only 4 children a year as we provide intensive support with mentors coming over homes of their mentees to pick them up and send them off each time. we do various sports such as cycling, blind soccer, dance, climbing, and we help children learn teamwork and life skills, of course. But our goal is not helping them play better and harder, or rather, we keep relaxed atmosphere as if they were in a living room after dinner, because these children do not have such time with their families. Some children are skinny and pale at the beginning and cannot say even their names, but after a few sports sessions, they start to raise their hands to take care of raise their hands and to take care of their friends. And with mothers getting better and mentors gaining confidence, we are trying to help children believing that there's always someone who cares them and whom they can trust. So this is very small scale project, but delivers significant impact for themselves, for their lives. But from corporate standpoint, it's hard to invest in this kind of small scale project. So we can pursue this project. We have done this for more than 10 years and we were awarded in 2019. But from the corporate standpoint, we are not really the beneficiaries of their donation. So I can say nonprofits can reach out people who cannot be helped by for-profits. And it's meaningful to work with corporations in a way that can deliver social impact still with them. That is my opinion, personal opinion.
Very, very well said. Zach, I would like to ask you specifically about the Federation's work. We've seen that in the last 2 years, the Federation has developed plenty of activity within the realm of social responsibility. FIBA itself recognized and sealed the impact of this practice by giving the FIBA Youth Leadership Award to the Federation. Having already undertaken the organization of 2 very large events, the pre-Olympic tournament for Paris 2024 and co-hosting the Women's Eurobasket in 2025, we would like you to tell us what are the next steps you expect on the occasion of these 2 major sporting events. Please keep it a bit short.
Yeah, exactly. First of all, I would like to clarify that our CC department was established in 2022, pioneering the inception of such initiatives within FIBA European Federation structure. As you said, over the past 2 years, we have spread numerous social initiatives during various sporting events. Our endeavors were acknowledged by FIBA, honoring us with the FIBA Youth Leadership Award. This recognition serves for us as a testament for our commitment and progress in the realm of social responsibility. Our upcoming agenda entails hosting 2 significant events, the pre-Olympic basketball tournament in July 2024 and the Women's European Basketball in June 2025. Over the next months, we plan to unveil our comprehensive sustainability strategy, outlining a concrete plan that will steer all aspects of our organization's social and environmental initiatives for the upcoming years. This strategy will include specific action plans and a robust monitoring process to ensure accountability and effectiveness in our efforts. Our priorities are inclusion, human rights, health and well-being, and environmental action. As I told you before, fortunately, under the leadership of Mr. Liolios, the president of our federation, we have been privileged. His profound interest and expertise in CSR has steered our organization toward achieving an exceptional level of dynamism in social practices, enabling us to triumphantly overcome challenges that the sport organization may face during the, organizing mega sport events. And I will just give you a brief notice on challenges that sport organizations may face. This has to do with particular federations when it comes to prioritizing social and environmental initiatives amid the broader operational focus on sporting events. Sustainability initiatives can sometimes be seen as a secondary to the primary aspects of sports-ending activities. Additionally, funding for such endeavors can pose a hurdle as effective social programs often require investments. And internally, integrating these initiatives with the organization ethos and daily operation presents another significant challenge. So it's crucial that every social issue engaged with by a sports organization becomes a point of interest and integration into all its core function and functions and culture. So having all of this in mind, this is how we are going to be our next steps in these 2 years with these 2 big events that we're going to host.
Okay, in a nutshell, thank you so much. Okay, just to finish this off, I would like you to tell the people that are listening to us some messages or an advice. It can only be keywords for the young people seeking their career in the sports social sustainability space. Let's start with Jonathan.
Find your niche and execute your dream. I guess it's hard to kind of.
No, it's actually the perfect advice. Find your niche. Me?
Sure. I would recommend taking a first step anyway. I started sports by myself only with some vision and passion. And once I stepped forward, people helped me out. And from my experience, only action can take you to the next stage. So take your first action.
Thank you, Me. And Zach?
Going back to what Me said, I think volunteering and be engaged in voluntary actions is a key aspect in order to proceed with the sporting industry, because I think there are a lot of opportunities out there, but in order to recognize them, you have to be engaged at the first point as a voluntary basis.
It has been an honor. Thank you so much, Me. Thank you, Jonathan. Thank you, Zach. Thank you, front runners in sport management. And just as a note, the next keynote starts at 12:30. Thank you very much for having us. Have a lovely afternoon.